Welcome again to the Ref Show. Welcome back to David Hirst. Dean Mohareb seems to be here every week at the moment.
2 in 2.
Yeah, and so does our good friend video refereeing. He's on the show, or is it a she on the show, every single week. Is it creating more controversy than it's solving? It is at the moment,
yeah,
Confederations Cup, isn't it?
It is, and I think if we look at the game yesterday, Germany and Cameroon, where the referee has cautioned the wrong player, he's reviewed the monitor at the side of the pitch, decided that not only is he going to change the card, he's going to change the player that's receiving the card. He then goes to with the red card and still sends the wrong player off, then has to go back a third time, and eventually we get the right decision. And I know a lot of purists will say, well, he's got the right decision, but for me it reduced the authority of the referee. The players lost trust in him, they lost trust in his decision making, and he looked less confident as the game went on.
Well, it became a farce, didn't it? Referee was Wilmar Roldan of Colombia, and Germany went on to win by 3-1, but it was certainly upsetting for the Colombians with the uncertainty of, and that's it. It's almost as if we're demanding that something be decided in seconds, that it can take studio pundits minutes and hours to decide when there's a controversy, although this was quite clear.
But as Dean said, you get to the right decision, and as for the trust of the players, I mean, this teething problems. I think that becomes a situation that, at the end of the day, the decision is the right decision. We get to the right decision. I can't see how they cannot trust a referee in that situation when it has amounted to the right person getting sent off. So you've got to work with these situations. It's going to be difficult. We're going to have opinions because you've got egos and bravados, of referees, the man on the VAR. Who's overriding who's the highest official, if you like. So it's going to be a bit of swings and roundabouts. Are
these just teething troubles? I mean, the whole point of a trial is to get rid of these, and although it's in a high-level competition, it's a high level to make mistakes.
Yeah, it is. It's a pilot, but on the current performance of the pilot, I would not be putting it in the World Cup next year. I've got no confidence in the system whatsoever, having seen numerous errors, even with video help, they're still getting it wrong. And I think for me, I know what David's saying, but we're taking decisions in isolation. So there's a tackle, there's a decision by the referee, right? What we've now got, where the referee has to review a monitor, he's coming back, he still gets the decision wrong, he goes back to the monitor, he comes back, he still gets it wrong, then he eventually gets it right. It's human nature that the players are going to be in his ear. You can't even get it right with a video. So I think the whole match control, we're looking at decisions in isolation, but a referee can still get a decision wrong and control a game.
Yes.
This is actually not aiding the match control of the referee.
He can lose control of the game on the basis
I just
of
think
this one thing that could be
in this situation where he's going over to the monitor and he's trying to select the decision himself.
Yes.
Yeah.
I refer to the cricket and the rugby as I have done previous shows.
Yes.
Where there's somebody sat there telling him what the situation is. Yeah. He's made a mistake, you've made a mistake, or I'm here to help you get the right decision. Yeah. And I think that's what needs to be brought into it more permanently.
David, that's exactly what has been championed by you, the ref, and by Keith Hackett. That system, and the confusion is that system has been in operation at the under-20s World Cup. And we saw it operate quite successfully.
Like I say, you've got to get rid of the bravado.
The referee doesn't have to go and watch it again.
Yeah, it's not there to pick the referee out. It's to get the right decision. And if we've got another high-profile referee, whatever, up in the stand, looking at it, explaining why, what, and wherefore, then it's not there to demise the referee. That's the thing.
You're only as good as your video assistant referee, though, aren't you? Really, at the end of the day, if you're relying on him to be God, really.
But it's only like relying on your assistant referees for decisions that are closer to them. So for me, if the VAR says in your ear, look, that's a penalty, I'm going with the VAR. You've got to.
Yeah.
And I think just to sort of wrap it up, we spoke last week about the potential law changes that IFAB have put a discussion document on. I think it's clear now that we are moving to 3 types of football. We're moving to football for the very rich clubs with the monitors, the VAR, the goal line technology. We're moving to football for the rest of the professional tier, League 1, League 2, that won't be able to have these things in. And then we've got a grassroots game. And that is a clear step from FIFA, who always had one game. Now we are moving to 3 different games.
And 2 or 3 different sets of laws of the game will result then, presumably, from that. I mean, it wasn't only that game. I think earlier in the Confederations Cup, Mexico played New Zealand. Mexico won 2-1. The referee there, Bakary Gassama, had to preside over a mass melee with pushing and shoving, etc. And he picked out, I think, 3 yellows, but you could clearly see that the guiltiest parties weren't actually punished as a result of that.
And again, you know,
and you'd think that would sort it, wouldn't you?
I think the problem is that the protocol, which IFAB have set, is not. The referees are not confident with it because there's only certain decisions you can review, which is what you want. You don't want every decision going to a video referee, but they're not reviewing the decisions that they should be reviewing. So if you're in a truck with the earpiece and you're watching the game on television, you know, having sat and watched a game, you're watching it and you're going, oof, is that a penalty, is it not? You know that's got to be reviewed. And we've seen missed penalties, we've seen tackles that should have been red cards not be reviewed. We've seen a mass confrontation where the wrong players have been held to account. So for me, it just isn't working. So they've got to reevaluate the protocol. They've got to bring the communication in that David said, because we need to, when we're watching it at home and the crowd are watching it, they need to know what's going on. They haven't got a clue what's going on. So I think we need to take lessons from rugby, from cricket, bring that in, and let's keep trialling it, because at the moment it is not fit for purpose. And if they put it into the World Cup next year, it will cause more problems than it will solve, in my opinion.
What about bringing a top rugby union official into it to help implement it into the game?
Well, I think that,
what do you think?
Obviously, you'd like to think that would be something that's being looked at, getting the cricket, the rugby together with the football, and so, you know, how do you work the system that will help us work the system? I mean, obviously the games are so different, but in hindsight, it's all working towards the same method of refereeing.
I suppose the reason for experiments is you can operate with different systems, and that's, in fairness to FIFA, that and the football authorities, that's what's actually happening at the moment. So we're seeing the pros and cons.
It is, but if you're the under-21s manager in a World Cup and it's just been a trial period and it's cost you a World Cup final, it's not going to be the nicest thing on your CV, is it? No. So it's a dangerous one, but it does need to be trialled, and we have to do it somewhere. And the higher profile the games, the better, because that's where the pressures are.
Well, in part 2, I'm glad you mentioned the England under-21s, because we'll look at the success of young England teams generally in part 2. I mean, the England under-21s, best of luck. It'll be after this show goes out. They're involved in a semi-final of the European under-21 Championships. Of course, the England under-20s won the World Cup and the Toulon tournament as well. It's great that we had 2 squads capable of winning tournaments simultaneously at the under-20 level.
The future looks bright, and I think was it the under-17s got to the final, got beat by Spain. The future does look bright in English football, definitely.
Okay. And one George Hirst, I'm not sure he's a relation of yours, but he figured quite impressively. We'll talk about that in part 2. Also, Dean, we'll come to the subject of England only having one FIFA elite referee on the panel. That's Martin Atkinson. Scotland has 2, Willie Collum and Craig Thompson. It's not often Scotland beats England at anything. Mr. Jot War, boss of you, other ref, do take note of that. But on this occasion, we doff our
I think we'll keep out of the way of that one.
We'll stay out of that one, yeah.
Leave that with Alan.
But that shouldn't happen, should it, really?
No, I mean, you mentioned the 2 youth tournaments there. We didn't have a referee there. We didn't have a referee at the under-20s. We didn't have a referee at the under-21s. So we've got a bit of a state at the top level at the moment, and we'll obviously talk about it in part 2.
What is the reason of that? You know, is that because referees are finishing, and we've not quite had the follow-through?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, there's a multitude of factors, but ultimately you've got to have succession planning. It's like young players, you've got to give them a chance, and we've got to start giving these younger referees in the championship the chance to step up. Okay,
more in part 2. These 2 will be back. I'm hoping to be back, courtesy of Jot War, but hope to see you.